I have known Ashley for over 15 years. Don't do the math, we were 2 years old when we met at UCLA. But over the years, we did that rare thing where we stayed in touch, became best friends, worked together, became collaborators, and invested in each other's businesses. Ashley was one of the first people that ever paid me to do whatever I was doing at the time. Became business partners, started this foundation, and got to this very moment today. And to me, what we celebrate and hype here at A Rare Day, sisterhood, what's possible between two women, lives in that very story. In fact, my sister, Van Ann, is now a manager at Rare Global and was Ashley's first assistant. Which means I've had the incredible experience of witnessing and joining in Ashley's journey from quitting Lionsgate as an attorney to becoming a manager, to building her own company and fulfilling her own vision of entrepreneurship. And while she might find it surprising or unlikely that she's the boss of literally so many people, I, like all the other people, do not. So instead of the juicy details, I guess I'll just welcome Ashley to the stage to share her personal insight and lessons on becoming a leader. Please welcome Ashley Villa.
Hello. I'm Ashley, this Ashley that everyone keeps referring to. Maybe some of you don't know. Vanny and I founded the Be Rare Foundation, so today is honestly a dream for us. It's our third annual A Rare Day. Today I'm going to be talking about how initially this situation was not exactly my dream. I'm going to be talking about my own personal lessons, and along the way I'll give some tips and tricks. People love to say that in beauty, like in the YouTube, some tips and tricks. So I'll be giving some tips and tricks for your career. As I said, I did not set out to be the CEO of Rare Global. I never thought that I would own my own foundation with Vanya. To be honest, when I graduated UCLA, I just didn't know what I wanted to do at all. It was confusing, and I just needed a job. And since I really didn't know what I wanted to do, I just decided to go to law school. Just like what, took the LSAT, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this now. I got a good score. And so then I applied, and then I was like, do I really wanna go? Then I did. Throughout law school, I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do. I just thought, okay, I'll do trademarks. That seems pretty low-key, low maintenance. To be honest, my parents were very strict Chinese parents. So I remember telling my dad when I was really little that I wanted to be a singer when I grew up. And he said, no, you're gonna be a doctor. And that was it. I actually went in pre-med at UCLA, but then failed out my first quarter. So that was bad academic probation time. I switched my major quickly. But yeah, so I went to law school. I was gonna be a trademark attorney. I actually got decent grades. I got a summer associate position doing trademark law. I realized that it was really boring. And so, again, just wasn't that much a fan of trademarks, to be honest. I have a trademark attorney now, and I honestly don't know what he does all day, because it's really, really boring for me, personally. If anyone's a trademark attorney out there, like, you must love it, super exciting stuff. But so anyway, after I graduated law school, I took the bar, I passed the bar, which was a nightmare. And then I proceeded to decide, okay, I have to figure out what I want to do. And I honestly didn't know. So I was like, okay, I live in LA. I had an internship at Fox Sports. I'm just going to go do entertainment then. And so I proceeded to then take a job at Lionsgate as a coordinator position, but it was like an attorney position, but they didn't want to pay me. It was $28,000 a year. I was living on ramen, no joke. I don't even know how I did that. I remember I had a $25 Forever 21 budget that I allotted myself every week because I just wanted to get one new top. But other than that, if I spent $50 at Forever 21, then I'd really have to figure out how I was eating that week, I did have supportive parents, and they actually supported me figuring out what I wanted to do. And after that, that job, I took it because it was a leap of faith. It was an amazing position. I was working in the corporate office. So I worked under the CFO, the CEO, and the general counsel of Lionsgate. And so I ended up, because I was being thrifty, I just insisted on getting like more work. And so actually that position now is they actually have an attorney in that position. But when I was there, I just got my foot in the door, And so from that, I ended up working at an amazing film sales agency. I ended up working at a place called Style Hall. Not sure anyone even remembers what Style Hall, it was a multi-channel network when YouTubers still were at a multi-channel network. When I started Rare Global, I honestly didn't know what I was doing. I just did it myself. And then I realized, okay, I can't do this myself. So I hired Van Ann, who was my first employee. And she was actually more like, Ashley, are you eating person? Like, hey, Ashley, did you eat lunch today? I'm going to order food, okay? Because before I was just working so much, I just didn't have time, literally didn't have time to eat. It takes 20 minutes to drive to get your dry cleaning where I was living in Brentwood, 20 minutes back, an hour and a half of your time when it's all said and done. Little things like that, I just couldn't get done. So Van Ann really just helped me live my life for the first couple years that we were trying to build the company, which is the first thing that I realized when I started Rare Global, which is your people are your assets. I did not realize this that much when I was working at a corporation. There's just so many talented people around me all the time. Noelle here. She's in charge of Chief now, and she went to Harvard Business School. I was just sitting next to her, chilling, someone else found her, and she was just hanging out next to me. I just didn't realize, all these amazing, Christina, who was on the panel just now, I met them all at Style Hall, but didn't ever cross my mind, oh, it's a bunch of talented ladies around me, or a bunch of, initially before, lots of talented men, but I didn't realize it. So when I started hiring myself, I just realized that hiring is so hard, and I went through a lot of assistants. Probably I'm very difficult to work for, or maybe there was other people who were having problems, but honestly, it's a lot of investment to train people and figure out, whether they're going to stay. And I remember, so one of the ladies here, she was telling me a story. I hired this girl, I worked with her for a morning. By the afternoon, she told me that she wasn't going to stay. I can't believe I spent all morning working with her. And I was thinking in my head, okay, how about training your assistant for 8 months, only to realize that she was clearing her inbox every single night and not even doing any work at all. Yes, that happened to me, So, as you go and you learn, you realize that it's literally entering into long-term relationship when you're, just as an employee and as a boss, it's entering into a long-term relationship. When you're doing your interview, you're on the other end, or maybe you're on the hiring end, but regardless, really think about whether or not you want to be around this person. Really think about whether you think that they're, valuable, whether you think that they're a moral person, whether you think that they're a person that you want to sit beside and represent you, to be honest, every single day. That's a part of the hiring process that was very difficult for me. That's why we're loving our internship program too at Rare, because it gives us an opportunity to really get to know the ladies and potentially men. There's a few men in here who might want to work at Rare Global. So you really get a feeling of their energy, whether you like being around them. And so part of this hiring process and learning what I've learned is you should yourself also be good company. Don't be a grumpy Gus. You should walk into the office in the morning and have a smile on your face. You are a representation of yourself. So have a smile on your face. Say good morning to everyone. There's no reason to be sulky when you're coming into the office. Everyone wants to be around other people that they enjoy. So don't be a grumpy Gus. And at Rare Global, we like to have fun. So another thing that we like to do at Rare Global, and I like to implement, I'm going to stand over here in case anyone wants to get a picture of this here. By the way, at Rare Global is the Instagram. We really need followers, so feel free to follow. Also, Ashley Rachel is my Instagram handle, so you can tag me there. But, we like to have fun. And for example, if it's sunny on a Friday, we got a lot of work, but you know what? There's always a lot of work. Sometimes we'll just be okay, let's wrap up over the next hour and let's just go do something. Mostly it's drinking wine, because I like drinking wine, so then I make everyone else drink wine too. But sometimes it's other things, you never know. Hasn't been yet, but okay. And then Another thing to think about, right, is your A team. Your colleagues, friends, and family, these are the people that you use. Use them, not in like a bad, like user kind of way, but use them to further your own career. One thing that I like to do, this is like, do you see the pen? It's like a work hack. That's what the pen went right there. So it's a work hack. For example, here's a tip that I like to do, and I don't remember who told me this tip, but I've used it for years. Whenever you go to lunch with someone, it's going to be natural conversation. Conversation's going to be flowing. They're going to be talking about, their business relationships. You're going to be talking about yours, maybe even personal relationships, people they know. There's going to be lots of different conversations happening, but, at some point you're going to be talking about people. And they're going to say something like, oh my gosh, like you would totally vibe with Nancy. And then you go, oh my gosh, you would totally vibe with Brad. And then what you do is after the lunch, you follow up the conversation with, hey, I would love to actually meet Nancy. Can you connect us? And of course the person's gonna have had amazing lunch with you. They're gonna say, great. I actually like to get 2 new connects from every single lunch that I do. It's just like a little tip to get amazing networking going. And if you can get 2 new people from every single lunch that you have, that lunch is gonna be worthwhile. And then once you meet their network, you'll all be like one big happy family, helping each other and growing. And here's another thing that I think a lot of women don't think about. It's that your friends, some are women, some are men, but there's a lot of women, a lot of girls are friends with girls. So your friends are actually your network. When you have your girlfriends or boyfriends or whoever they are, ask yourself, is that person supportive of my business? Is that friend actually happy for me, down to connect me? Ask yourself these things. They say that you are the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Ask yourself, are those 5 people the people that I want to be? Take a moment. Could you partner with your friend, maybe? I mean, I didn't realize when I met Vanya at a frat party at UCLA, standing on a bar, actually, because I'm very short, so I wanted to elevate myself. I look over and I'm like, who are you? But it's so true. I can't believe I just said that to everyone. So, I didn't think when I met her when we were 18 years old, well, I was 19, I think she was 18, that, we would have so many things to do together. It's been a crazy ride, but we've always been there to support each other, and that started as friendship. We weren't like, oh, we're going to be business partners. Honestly, I didn't even know what Vanya did for 10 years. I honestly barely do now. That was a joke. Okay, and then find someone who values what you do just as much as they value what they do. So this is the love hack. See the little heart? I think Vanya did that purple for me. Yeah, Vanya also made this for me. She made it purple so it'd be for boys and girls, because relationships can be with boys and girls. But this one's a little bit specific to your life partner now. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she is everything to me. She's on the Supreme Court. If you have a caring life partner, you help the other person when that person needs it. I had a life partner who thought my work was as important as his, and I think that made all the difference for me. And so yeah, I almost cried when I saw this, because she grew up in a different time, and so he was always very supportive of her. So for example, my partner Drew, he's over there. So he's actually a wealth manager, and he does investments and things like that. And honestly, I went to law school because I cannot add or count. Ended up I have to actually add and count most days, but he actually helps me with my investments, and we found a way to kind of help each other with different pieces of our business. Honestly, I'm thinking about it right now, and he helps me more than I help him very much, but that's okay. Okay, so the difference is in the details. So at Rare Global, we feel like the difference that we bring to the table is the attention to detail that we bring every single day, and I really think it's helped our clients a lot. We are the true power brokers of the most minute details. Okay, so I have some examples of some minute details that we have to do every day. For example, we check the contracts to make sure that the money is listed, that the fee is actually listed. I can't tell you how many times I've read a contract where there's not even a fee for my client listed in the contract at all. It's like, what are we doing here, people? Like, we want to get paid. So that's a small detail that we have to pay attention to. Okay, we also check, Kmore does every single time. Kmore sitting over there, she's at our company. She checks to make sure that our clients are not charged an extra baggage fee. Like, Jen, did you know that we do that? She did not know. I don't think our clients know this level of attention to back office detail that we have, but maybe she does. But we literally want to make sure that, no one's taking that $40 out of her account. That matters. Maybe it's not your money, but it matters to us. For example, I carry a purse. I carry a brush in my purse whenever I'm on a photo shoot. Actually, a brush, floss, and also like a little mirror for flyaways, and just to make sure that my client looks good. Honestly, for most people out in the world, they're only looking at how they themselves look. They're not honestly really looking at how anyone else looks. But at Rare Global, we care how you look. Another thing I've learned over time being a leader, and this has actually been a learning experience for me, is that the buck stops with you. Literally, there's no one to blame. When you're in charge, if someone on your team messes up, unfortunately, that's your fault, And don't throw anyone under the bus, ever. If something happened on the team that was a mistake, you got to figure out how to fix it, and then you need to take the ownership as the leader. It's not going to look great if so-and-so says there's a problem, and you're like, honestly, that was Katie's mistake, so you're going to have to talk to her. No, it's actually not Katie's mistake. Katie, I never made it your mistake. I hear you mumbling over there. There's no one to blame but Ashley. But you do need to have a talking to Katie after to see why there was a mistake. No, Katie doesn't actually make mistakes, so I'm totally kidding right now. Okay, I'm going to talk about this reply versus reply all disaster. Okay, so I realized that in college, no one ever really pulls you aside and tells you how to do emails. And, we've really learned this over time. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so just so everyone knows, I'm going to make everyone on the same page now. If someone sends you an email and has people on CC, you must reply all. You got to keep everyone on CC, okay? If you don't reply all, the other two people are going to be like, why is she shady? Why did she take me off? But really, you're just replying, So note, guys, you got to reply all. You got to make sure everyone stays on CC. If you're going to have, an internal, little conversation, I would actually start a new thread. I don't like to say internal ideas on the same thread. I like to just start a new one. Because you can't control so-and-so in the company accidentally forwarding your, potentially snarky, do you want to do the deal? No. They're going to see you just said no, not really know, what or where that came from, and it's not going to be great. So be super aware of how you're handling emails. Honestly, emails are one of the most important things in business, guys. You got to be careful of your emails. Okay, and then, honestly, usually every year I do a contract review, but I'm not going to this time. I'm just going to give you one quick tip about contracts. If you get a contract and you're super confused, it's really long, to be comfortable, just read it out loud. Read it out loud to yourself. And if you can just read it out loud, there might be some parts that you don't understand, but the parts like the usage, who's in the contract, things like that, if you read it out loud, you should be able to generally understand what that contract is. And by the way, a judge is just going to be reading that contract. So at any given point, anyone should be able to understand what the contract is. If you don't know what something in the contract is, just ask. So there's a little tip there. Okay, I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to make checklists. As I've learned being in charge of a company, time is money, and honestly, at some point, every single second of time that you spend is either money received or money lost. So whenever I'm on a phone call, every second counts, and I write everything down in the form of checklists and just, ways that I can actually move in the situation. So if I'm on a call, I actually am organizing all my thoughts as I'm on the call, writing down all the notes, organizing them into checklists. I either use like my notes on my phone or I use Evernote. I've heard a lot of CEOs who literally have like thousands of notes on their phone. They're just like looking at them all the time. Organize them as you go. You can also make your checklists into goals or your goals into checklists, but make them realistic. So I actually had the honor of having dinner a couple weeks ago with Pyle. She is the founder of ClassPass, and she actually did a little like intention setting workshop. And the main takeaway that I found from this dinner that she was hosting was that she said, like, all of my goals, first of all, she does her goals all the time, which is crazy, that she's always resetting goals because her goals are crazy. Like, she just made ClassPass into what do they call it, a unicorn? Like a $1 billion company. She's a female founder, first $1 billion company in 2020. And she literally is over there like making her goals like all the time. And so that really resonated with me. And on top of that, she said that she needs to make them realistic. So what you do is you make little baby steps for every single goal you have. So for example, one of my goals was to see my sister once a month, but not like in an events. I don't even tell Stephanie this was my goal. I just like did it myself and then like asked her to do what I said. But it pretty much like I wanted to see her in a non-event, not work setting at least once a month. And so that was the baby goal, but the general goal is, I want to see my sister more. So do you see how the small goal kind of ebbed and flowed into the bigger one? Like, hopefully I will see her more, but at least for now, it's once a month, So that really resonated with me. You could do that with any single goal, just so also you feel better. Like, if you can reach those tiny goals, you can reach the big ones, and it's just step by step. And then these checklists that you make at work, I told Kmore, who's at Rare, I said, make a checklist for like the internship program that you're putting together. Like, make it into a protocol. When you have this list and how-to on something that you've built, you literally have more power at work because that means you're in charge of that project, right? So then when your boss says, what are you up to? You could literally send your protocols and be like, this is all the stuff I'm working on. Or if you're like, I want a raise, you can also, again, send all your protocols. These are all the things that I'm in charge of. Like, take a look at like how much value I'm adding to the company. These protocol checklists is something that we do at Rare, but also I think it's super beneficial to any employee who just wants to grow in the company, or even if you want to grow yourself. Okay, number 4, respect is earned and the rent is due every single day. Every single day that you're going into work, you are like, there's a possibility that things could go wrong. You know what I mean? You need to be careful, honestly, every single day that you're in there. It all starts with you. This is what Warren Buffett said. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you'll do things differently. And it's completely true. Here are some ways that you can actually build your reputation. Be respectful. I think it's super important to actually care about the thoughts and sometimes feelings of your fellow coworkers, You can joke around, but end of the day, you should be at a place where you value everyone's opinions. And even sometimes, actually, like, the girls were telling me this, and I was like, I felt really nice, because they said that sometimes I come out, and I'll be like, I have this great idea. And I'm like, okay, this is the idea. And then someone's like, no, that's not a good idea. I'm like, okay, you're right. It's not a good idea. I go back into my office. I really do care what the girls of the company think, and I take it into account, You are only as good as the people around you, as I've said before. So be respectful of their opinions too. Like, you're not always right, and I'm wrong a lot, to be honest. I didn't say that out loud, though. Okay, so be willing to do it all. We have like a Rare global mantra. It's called Who We Are, Rare Who We Are. And this is one of the items on there. It is not my problem, is not in my lexicon. If anyone's asking about a problem, and your answer is never, and I've honestly never heard this at our company, it's not in my job description. Well, actually, everything is in your job description. If you don't know, you better friggin' figure it out, Like, I'm not kidding about that. There's never a world where you just don't know. Sorry, don't know, back to typing. Like, not gonna happen. I wanted to throw this one in there just because I love Kobe, and his passing really touched me. But he did say this, and it's also completely true. I'll do whatever it takes to win games, whether it's sitting on a bench, waving a towel, handing a cup of water to a teammate, or hitting the game-winning shot. Okay, so clearly we all know it was mostly hitting the game-winning shot. But he also, I believe, was willing to do the other pieces. He was a team player. You know, even if he was injured, he was still there, right? So, I mean, that, from a legend, it's clear. Okay, so the last little tip for, like, you know, getting an amazing reputation is showing up on time and dressing up. So here's me on any given day at work. This was like super, I didn't even know that the photographer was coming in that day. Why is everyone laughing? Just kidding. Thank you to my stylist, Tata, for putting this together, and Ariana for hair and makeup, and Emmeline for the photograph, and all the other creative directors that were involved. But yeah, you gotta show up, you gotta dress up, and I see so many amazing people here today, like super beautiful and dressed up, and they did their makeup, and they got here on a rare day, and they're here to learn. But yeah, freaking look the part, you know? Even if you're an assistant or a coordinator, I mean, you're there at the event. Like, act like you belong, and you deserve to be there. If you're there, there's a reason you're there. So act like you do, you know what I mean? I think it's super important to present to the world how you feel inside, you know? So dress up, like feel good about yourself. And then here's the last little tip, and I will leave everyone alone. Know what you don't know. And I'm a master at knowing exactly what I don't know. I'm amazing at delegation. I'm like, you're gonna do that, you're gonna do that. I'm super bossy, but that's fine, because when you're the leader, you have to know what you don't know, and that's the most important thing, honestly, about leadership. Help is a powerful word. There's so many times where I'm on emails, especially, honestly, with people at Google. They have all of their own little acronyms. They're like, oh, the 401c3 group will call out. I'm like, what? Like, I think that was like a tax term, actually. Okay, the BRB document I'll be sending you, like, shortly. And honestly, I'll Google it first. And then I'll just email back, I don't know what the BRB document is. Can you please explain to me what that is? And I'm not scared to ask, because I'd rather just know than just be wondering what the BRB document is, miss the boat, not get it signed. Maybe my client can't shoot on set or something. Who knows? You know what I mean? So just be willing to ask. Okay, here are some other little items pulled from our Rare Global Manifesto. I guess it's manifesto, not mantra. I don't really know the difference. Okay, so ask for what I need, ask questions. When something is not clear, I ask. If I'm unsure on what tasks to prioritize, I ask. When I'm overwhelmed, I ask for what I need. I don't judge others who ask for help, and I don't judge others who need help. Like, this is something that you have to remember at work, you know, or at any place, even in life. Asking for help, there's no problem in that. In fact, it's going to be more beneficial for you to ask now than super fuck it up and then have to fix it later, you know? Knowing what you're not good at is just as important as knowing what you are. So for example, today, the event, right? Ladies First, amazing production company, amazing ladies, Joanne and Donna. They are in charge of the event. I am not an event coordinator, okay? I feel like this is an amazing event that we put on, but I'm not an event coordinator. Did you know that we had to choose the style of seats? These are like acrylic ghost chairs. You know, we had to choose those. Did you know this is an LED screen? We had to choose this over a projection. You know, there's so many different things. I mean, did you know that there's a Rare Global filter on Instagram? It took Stephanie a month to put it together, like days and days of wondering if it'll ever get on Instagram. You can find it at the Be Rare Foundation. Please go check it out. Please use it today. Also, follow Rare Global. As I said before, we really need followers. Okay. And then the second piece of this situation is understanding what you're outsourcing. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to be the jack of all trades. You have to kind of be the quarterback. Know a little bit about everything, about what's happening, but you're not going to actually play those positions. I'm making like a sports analogy right now. You're not going to play those positions, but you might like toss to them. Is that toss the right? Pass? Passed. Okay. Even taxes, guys. Okay, we got crossed accounting here. They're going to be having like 6 tax accountants answering questions during lunch. You could feel free to ask them questions, come up. You even need to know about taxes. I'm going to tell you guys something For the first couple years of my career, I did not know the difference between federal and state taxes. Does anyone here know the difference? Raise your hand if you do. Okay, well maybe I wasn't alone. I just always let someone else do my taxes, to be honest. And then Brad's like, oh, Brad's also here, my accountant. He'll be at the panel in case, the question at lunch in case you have questions. But he's okay, the federal taxes are due now. I'm like, well, I just paid them. He's like, no, those were state. I was like, what? I just didn't know. So now I kind of use Brad as my own personal tutor, to be honest. I just call him and ask him questions, like, I need to know, I need to figure it out, and he helps me do that. And then I just wanted to give an example of all the people that I use as my personal tutor. Accountant, tax attorney, trademark attorney, corporate attorney, litigation attorney, payroll specialist, content creator, social media manager, social media strategist, creative publicist, like all these different people who I have to ask questions to, not afraid to, and yes, they will explain things to me. I'm not just gonna be passing information on and hoping that they do their job. Like I wanna know how they're doing their job. So yeah, here's a takeaway now. I feel like Jen kind of harped on this a little bit, but like find joy in the journey. I honestly can say that it only gets more stressful as time goes on. More money, more problems, guys. And I'm taking a lot of CBD these days, daytime and nighttime. Stress-free. That's a lie. I'm not stress-free at all, but I try to deal with it, by using the tips that I've mentioned today. And I would say be happy now. And just to close out, I would like to say that I never expected to be able to find joy in the journey, but I've been able to do that, and I hope all the best for you as well.